Alright gang, welcome back to our Can You Survive 25 challenge here on Zielonka. It is now December. We are going to be selling all of the wood chips that we have in the pallets out here. The ones that are still in storage, in the actual wood production, we're going to hold off on selling those until the next month. They're actually better the next month price-wise, but the price is still pretty good today, so I'm willing to go ahead and sell these today just to give us a little bit more funds. Obviously, we made some decent money from between the last episode and now from the auto-selling of lots of things, really. The wood, plus we have the chili peppers on auto-selling. Now, quick note here. We need to do a little bit of a different change here. So the tomatoes specifically, they are maxed out in our pickle production. There's still plenty of chili peppers if I'm honest with you, but I'm going to go ahead and switch these back to distributing. Just to try to get this one back up to max amount. We are maxed out on tomatoes. So what we're going to do is we're going to change some of these into lettuce. So we're going to turn off the tomatoes and flip them onto lettuce, so that way we can put them in distributing here. Let me make sure I set it up the proper way. That way we can actually start utilizing more of this pickle production by having more things in there. Obviously the tomatoes are maxed out right now. There's no reason for us to continue here with the tomatoes. We maybe could just sell those outright potentially, or you know, we can put them, well, they're already on distributing, so I guess it'll continue to distribute those tomatoes as we move along here into the pickle production, right? Until there's, you know, no more room or no more tomatoes in the greenhouse, and then it'll eventually continue to chew through that in the pickle production. So I think we'll do that. But all of the tomato processing here is going to cease for a little while, and we're going to do lettuce since they are maxed out. So how's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Things are good here, man, all things considered. Now, our greenhouses themselves, they're doing okay, but they are going to need a little bit more. I'm also tempted to put down another water pump distributor here. It's just having a hard time keeping up. You know, it's great because I don't have to sit there and you know, fill these up every single month, which I would have to do without it. But it is struggling to keep up with the water that is required here. The wood production seems to be chewing through quite a bit of water, so it's having a hard time keeping up with all the different things we have. So I think maybe a second one would be smart for us to do. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do it today or not, but I think a second one would be smart. So we'll probably look to fit that here in the near future. But how's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. Things are good, man. Things are good. At the time of this recording, I am getting ready to head out to go to Vegas for the poker tournament that I've talked about. Also for my birthday, but that just happens to be a secondary thing. I wasn't really initially going there for my birthday. I was going there for the poker tournament. It just happens to be both at the same time, so that's good for me. Going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm excited about it. Had a lot of fun last year when I did it. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year as well. And this year happens to be a pretty big milestone birthday for me, so I'm excited about that as well. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. You'll figure it out on your own, but a milestone, that typically means about every 10 years, right? That's what I would consider a milestone birthday, so you can do the math there and figure it out, I guess, on your own. But anyway, I'm excited about it. I was expecting at first to probably not have a ton of money to bring because I've had a lot of, well, just real-life things that have occurred, unfortunate things that have occurred, but, you know, that's just how life is sometimes. But it worked out in my favor. I ended up winning one of my fantasy football leagues, and the league that I won, I was in 3 of them this year, and the league that I won happened to be the biggest league, the one that was the most expensive. So I got a pretty decent amount of money out of that, specifically $800, which is fantastic. So $800 I wasn't expecting to have, so more than likely, oh, that went well, Z. Way to go, buddy. So more than likely what I'm going to end up doing is probably taking most, if not the entirety of the $800 as a little bit of fun expending money in Vegas, if you will. I know I've talked about it in the past on different series, but really for me, I don't like slot machines at all. I really don't play them. I'm not anything against it if you enjoy them. That's perfectly fine. But they're just not for me. Slot machines are just not my thing. I more prefer playing poker. That's the reason why I'm going out there to begin with. So, well, that went well. This is just going wonderfully. But anyway, I'm going out there to play in a poker tournament, and if I go to Vegas, I prefer to go out there and play poker. It really, you know, gives me a challenge to see how, you know, good I am, and if I've gained any skills at all of any sort. Obviously, poker You know, Vegas is probably the hotbed for all of poker, right? That's really you can go and test because you're going to have a lot of pros out there, which I'm not a pro by any means. I play once a week in a small league. But nonetheless, it is a lot of fun to go out there and just, you know, to see if I can at least even compete. Last year, I was in a tournament, the biggest tournament I've ever been in, which I mentioned. It's not a massive tournament. It's not like it's the World Series Poker or anything like that, so don't expect that. But it was still like almost 1,500 people. When I play in my weekly league, there's maybe, when it's a super busy week, we might have 60 people. So quite a large tournament in comparison to what I typically am used to on a weekly basis, right? And it's also different because you've got to try to figure people out, right? Where this league I play in once a week. At current, I mean, most of these people, we know how they play, right? You play with them every week. You kind of figure that out. Of course, there's going to be some differences, and people are going to change things up to try to fool people. Of course that's going to happen. But for the most part, you kind of know how somebody plays, right? That's not the case when you're in a tournament out there. All right, so that has been stacked up. I don't think I'm going to attempt to stack any of these pickles up here at the same time right now. So we'll hold off on doing that for a minute. Let's go sell these wood chips. I believe the place to sell them is between here and our second farm. So we're going to head there. Now, speaking of the second farm, today what I would love to do with some of this money that we have and some of this money we're going to make off of selling this stuff is to start funding things for the second farm. As it currently stands right now, we've got a harvester, which is great. We've got a drill, but we don't have anything else. We don't have a tractor, so we can't even plant anything if we wanted to. We don't have a plow. We don't have really anything. So I would love to be able to start funding that. Now, we're not going to be able to fund the entirety of it today, but if we can get maybe a tractor and possibly one other thing for it, trailer specifically, I think that would be really good, right? I think that'd be extremely helpful and move us in the right direction for Farm 2 as it currently stands. So that's going to be kind of my goal today, is hopefully that's what we're going to accomplish. You might say, well, why wouldn't you just put more stuff down in Farm 1, which will fund it, overall? You're right, it would, but we're soon, before you know it, we've only got a couple of months, handful of months or less. We're going to have to actually start drilling this field, and we don't have a plow, we don't have anything, a cultivator, nothing, right? So we've got to be very cognizant of that and try to start preparing for it. Otherwise, our Farm 2 is just going to sit stagnant, and I don't really want to do that, right? When we rebooted this up, we had a working second farm, and it was in good shape. After I decided to reboot it, we sold everything. Obviously, we didn't have as much money, so I really, really want to at least get us in a situation where we're in a little bit of a better spot there. So, not bad. So 39,698, excuse me, that we made off of that, which is pretty good. And then a small amount of other sold products. I'm not sure why there was a little bit of 150 here and there, but there was for one reason or another. So got us to $90,000 though, which is great. That is a good spot to be in. Used market wise, is there anything out here? There's a trailer out here, which I think we'll probably pick that trailer up for Farm 2. That's a pretty good price. And that should accomplish everything we need for that. This tractor would be wonderful to have. Again, we're not going to be able to get to $247,910 today. No matter what we do, we're not going to get there. So, it is what it is. Wonderful to have it, just not really in the cards right now. So, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. Things are good here, man. All things considered. Yeah. We're also going to have to spend a little money here for fertilizer, as we talked about, liquid fertilizer specifically in all these different productions, right? We're going to have to spend a little money there, and that's fine. We can do that too. Now, one thing I want to do here, I don't think I turned it on. I need to turn it on. I don't think I turned it on. I did not turn on pickled lettuce. So we need to turn that on, because now we are making lettuce, and once the hour flips over, we should start sending that lettuce. This one, that one should be on distributing, not storing. All right, everything else, they should all be on distributing. Yes, we're good. Okay. All right, good. So let's start getting these things stacked up here. Okay, evidently I turned it off. I didn't think I turned it off, but evidently I did. Now, this pickled lettuce production it's been working out pretty well for us, and honestly, I'm thinking about this. I'm talking about a different series here really quick, but I'm thinking about honestly considering adding this one into our competitive one-tile challenge. Now, the problem becomes is, you know, the actual ability to buy it is pretty expensive, but I think this might be something smart for us to consider doing on that series. It is expensive, but it's not outrageously expensive, and the fact of, you know, I can probably put this down the next time we do it, or the first time we do a harvest. More than likely, I'm going to make enough money where I could put this down. But the discussion for me really becomes, is it the smartest thing for me to do? I don't know. You know, I really don't know. Part of me says yes, but at the same time, I don't know for sure if this is the smartest thing to do or not. I've talked many times in the past, many times in the past, that, you know, I prefer to not utilize the same production, same equipment, etc. in multiple series if I can help it. There's obviously instances where I cannot help it. There's nothing I can do about it. For one reason or another, it's just the best option, or, you know, we need the money for whatever reason, and this is the best way to get there, whatever it may be. But I do think it might be beneficial for me to utilize this one and that one. I guess that's another bonus about that kind of series, right? That series is more, you know, it's supposed to be a competition, right? So, if I know something works well, which this does work well, then it almost, to me, seems like it's a no-brainer for us to go ahead and, you know, quite frankly, put it down and try to make ourselves a little bit more money from the greenhouses at current. So right now, all we have is a pumpkin greenhouse, but I've been talking about potentially putting down a lettuce greenhouse, and, you know, if we turn that lettuce into pickled lettuce, that might be a little more money for us, right? That might be a little bit more bang for a buck, if you will. I'm going to try to push this off a little bit more here. I'm not sure if we're going to need the room or not, but I'm going to attempt to push that off there a little bit more. Looks like we're not going to, because nothing has spawned. I just expected that maybe something else would spawn here, but evidently I'm wrong. I thought we had some in here. Maybe I looked at it incorrectly. No, I guess we don't. So I guess I don't really need to be pushing those that far away, but that's all right. One thing I don't like about this pickle production is where these beams are here. They're actually in the way. So if I want to try to stack things on top of each other, it does get a little difficult there in the middle. Now this JCB here is fantastic, man. I love this thing. This thing is great. It's so easy for me to do this with this thing. I've obviously had issues. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, because we know that. I'm not perfect at stacking stuff. I've never been perfect at stacking stuff, and I never would actually try to act like I am. But it's fantastic, man. It does such a fantastic job. It's so easy to use for me that it almost makes it seem like I know what I'm doing. Almost. Okay, we're getting stuck on that. Let's try to realign this for a minute. Here we go. Perfect. All right. So we're going to pop these on the back, and then we can go and sell these. I would assume it's going to be at the same location, but we will take a check. We will double check to make sure that that is the correct statement here. Alright, back this back up to where it was. I'm kind of getting used to the sand here. It does, you know, cause a little bit of mayhem when you're driving. It definitely gives you more bumps and things like that, but I am starting to get used to it, and I'm starting to like it a little bit. I didn't really like it a while ago. We put it down on a series, and I didn't really love it, and then I changed it, but I was like, I'm determined to like it. I just wish we had the texture that was in the Spazkovo Vintage Survival series that was like a sand-gravel mix. I absolutely loved that. Loved it. By far my favorite that we've used. I would use it all the time if I had the opportunity to do so, but unfortunately that's just not the case. So, I don't know where I'm going here. I need to be going here, and then pickled chili peppers, we are going to the farmer's market. No, we're not. We're going to the supermarket. And tomatoes, the train. Interesting. 672688. I'm just going to take them all to the supermarket, I think. Okay, where is the... where is the supermarket at? Is that the one we always go to? It is the one we always go to. Okay. Well, at least I know where that is. That's not going to be hard. I don't need that on. Let's head there. Make ourselves a little money. This should get us over 100,000. I suspect 14,000 liters of pickled. It should, in theory, get us over there. And then we can kind of take a look and see what we're going to do here. Like I said, we're likely going to buy this. I think that's a smart investment. The cultivator, it's not bad. It does require 240 horsepower, though, so we've got to be very smart about that. But both of those things could be very useful for Farm 2, right? They could be very, very useful for Farm 2. So something to think about, I guess. But we really need a tractor first and foremost on that farm. That is the number one thing we need. And I guess what I need to look at is, I've looked at it before, 180 horsepower. Okay, so it might be smart then. I mean, if we're going to have something that's 180 horsepower, the odds are it's going to be probably somewhere in the 200. So maybe we should consider that cultivator as well. I mean, it's very, very inexpensive, right? We can get the cultivator and the trailer for both under 30 grand. I feel like that's a fantastic deal for us. We'll have to think about it. Let's see what we get here. I'm going to cut in front of Walter White here real quick. Isn't it here? Why is it not, am I just missing the trigger point? I am completely missing the trigger point. Okay. Okay. Still missed part of the trigger point. So 11,000 there with that. Plus, well, minus $500 for environmental score. So it did get us over the 100,000 range. So another 1,920 plus 86 minus 86 environmental score. So 104,178 is what we got to play with. It's not a ton of money. It is, but when you start buying the stuff we've got to buy, it's not a ton of money. So we take 30,000 away from that. We've got $74,000 to our name. We've got to have a little bit of money because we do have a loan, right? So we've got to have a little bit of money so we don't go into the red between now and January. But let's see what we can fit for Farm 2 here. All right, so let's look at the pamphlet here and see what we got. So 104,000. Really, if we don't get the cultivator, we don't get the cultivator. So let's just factor in that we're going to buy this trailer. As a matter of fact, let's just buy it right now. Let's just not even screw around. Let's buy it right now. Real quick, while we're in here, one of the subscribers brought up an idea in a comment recently. I haven't replied to it yet. I know that for a fact, but by the time this video is out, I should have replied to it by now. But the idea was, and I think it's a good one, why don't I color coordinate both of my farms? I think that makes a lot of sense. We can color coordinate all three eventually, right? But there's going to be some things where it doesn't allow you to change the color. This is one of those, right? I can change the cover color, but I can't change the actual, trailer itself color, unfortunately. But there are going to be certain things where we can absolutely color coordinate. Example of that would be the harvester that we purchased. So I probably should change that to a different color. Maybe we will soon, but we're not going to be harvesting for a while, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. But eventually, that's a good idea. I think we do color coordinate. I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's put these on here. Let's just see which one we like. I like wide tires, so I've got to go with one that are wide tires. I think the Trelleborgs are probably the ones I go with here. The Vergesteins are not bad either. Continentals, not a huge fan of those. I think the Trelleborg is what we're going to go with. Do we even want to cover here? I'm tempted to say no because it costs more money to do that. So I'm tempted to go with no on that. So I'm just going to say no. It's going to be $15,315 plus the $500 for, well, it's $14,815 plus $500 for the wide tires, which gets us to $15,315. Maybe I shouldn't be spending the money on the wide tires, but me, I always will spend the extra money on wide tires for whatever reason. I just like the way they look. So we're going to go with it. So we'll buy that. So that leaves us with $88,000 remaining. It's not a ton of money, but it should be able to get us a tractor. Now, what tractor are we going to get? $88,000 is not a ton of money for a tractor. We need something at a bare minimum. I mean the barest of minimum possible. We need something that can pull 180 horsepower. That's not going to be cheap, right? That is just simply not going to be cheap. There's not going to be much in the small tractors here that it can even pull that, I think. I think we're going to have to either go with an older tractor or something very specific from a mod here to be able to do this. 150, 145, that ain't going to do it. 147, that's also not going to do it. This would, I know some people don't like it, but it would be nice to have this because it has the option for you to attach, you know, a sprayer onto it. You know, kind of kill two birds with one stone, if you will. 110, none of these in here are going to cut it. That makes me a little nervous. Well, actually, that one would. And we have just enough money for it, only just. We use that in the Vintage Survival series. I would probably not buy that one if I can help it. We can go with one of these. Yeah, we can go with one of these potentially. That would be a possibility for us. It would cost $83,000 for us to get 225, 274,000, 180, which is what we actually have to need. 67,000. So that gives us a little bit of extra money. So we can go with that. There's the Fiat here, which for 74 we can get to. So there's a couple options here in the medium one so far that we can get. This one could do it as well, but we don't have enough money for it, and we utilize that one already right now, so I'm trying not to use that. Here's another steer that could be useful. 88,000, we would have only just enough. If we take off the 3-point, which we could add later on, we would have enough money easily. So maybe we go with this steer here. I kind of like the way this looks. But let's keep looking here. Let's keep looking. So there's some other John Deeres we could go with. Another Fiat out here. Yeah, so in my eyes, it's going to be one of these down here at the bottom here. It's going to have to be one of these. None of these other ones really are even remotely within the realm of what we need. I guess I can go with this. But if I was to go with this, why did I spend the money on the trailer? 2,200 liters. I think the trailer we bought has a lot more capacity than that, though. Yeah, 18.5, a lot more capacity. Which you kind of expected that, but I just didn't remember exactly how much it was. I didn't really look that closely at it. I just saw it, knew it was a good deal, and wanted to get it. Yeah, part of me is thinking we've got to go with one of these John Deeres here, right? We already have a John Deere, though, so that's why I'm kind of leaning against it. Maybe the Fiat is the way to go. To get to 180 horsepower, it's costs us $51,000. Front hydraulic attacher. Okay, so this doesn't have the option for any kind of a front loader of any sort, it looks like. This one does have the ability for a front loader. I don't need any of this right now. I think I'm gonna just utilize the $0 front weight for the time being, save a little bit of money, because to get to where we need to be, it's gonna cost us pretty much all the money we have. 83.5. Eventually, I'm gonna need to do some upgrades to this for wheel weights and all that stuff. I mean, I'm gonna have to, right? I can't really buy any of this right now, though. If I go with this one, we really can't afford anything. We need the rest of that money for the loan, right? We've got a loan we've got to deal with. And if I go this approach, here's the problem. If I go this approach... If I go with this approach, we're not going to have any money to put back into our greenhouses right now. That's the problem. That's the big problem, right? So kind of leaning towards this one. This is going to allow us to have a lot more money. We've used this in the past. It is a super loud tractor. I know that for a fact. It's so loud. But it does give you a lot of options here. And it doesn't really cost you a ton of money. I think we're just going to go with that. It's going to cost $8,000 more to upgrade it to 180 horsepower, but that should... Let me just make sure before I do this, because I don't want to screw it up. I'm pretty sure it's 180 horsepower is what's needed for this drill. 180 horsepower, that's what's needed. What it does also mean is that, well, we weren't going to get it anyway. We weren't going to have enough money, but this one is nowhere within the realm of something we can utilize, right? So let's go with the Fiat with the understanding that this is likely going to change. In other words, we are likely not going to stick with this one later on. We're likely going to sell it. It's more going to be something we're going to utilize right now for the time being to help us on that farm. So we actually have a tractor so we can move some stuff around. 51.5. That still gives us money. Let's do it. Still gives us $37,000, which is great for us to have. I don't need that beacon on anymore. We've used this in the past. It's been a while, but we've used this in the past. It's just the best. It's the best approach right now. It really is. You know what? We're just going to take this to the farm. I don't even think we can... I don't even think it's worth trying to connect anything to it. This is good, though. This is good. Now, we've got $37,000. It's not a ton of money, but it is some money, and it allows us, at least at this point, to be able to buy some liquid fertilizer and other things we're going to need for our Farm 1, right? Our Farm 1, it's got enough probably to get by, just to squeak by until the next month. But at that point, we're going to be, you know, pretty low. 516, you know, some of these are going to be better than the others. These two are going to really need something, I think. Probably the wood probably needs something as well, right? So that's going to give us the opportunity to do so. It's not cheap. It's really not cheap for that liquid fertilizer for those hydroponic greenhouses. So I truly think this is the best approach for us. So let's get this back to the well, it's just a, you know, makeshift yard for the time being. The staging area, I guess, is how we really should call it. Let's get this back. Let's go get the actual drill. And we'll go from there. Well, one thing I can tell you is before we start doing the drilling here, we are absolutely going to need a front weight on this. This thing is all over the place. I'm having a hard time keeping control of it. But we did get it here, which is good, right? Look at this. Look at this little setup we've got now. We actually look like we actually have a bit of a beginning of a second farm now, finally. That looks pretty good, right? It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, honestly. That looks nice. Okay, so we need to buy liquid fertilizer. Here we go. And I'm going to use the liftable one. I'm not even going to worry about bringing the telehandler down here. There's no reason to do that. I'm going to buy a pretty high amount here, I think. Maybe 6 of them. That might be the way to go. How much is 8 of them? 8 of them is 22,000. I mean, we need it. We really do. We need it. We've got 6 liquid fertilizer greenhouses that require this, and then we need some for the wood. Right now, the wood, obviously, I can use the solid fertilizer if I need be, which is a little bit cheaper, of course. Let's go with 6 for the time being. It's a lot of money. And then I'm going to buy 4 solid fertilizer. 3 solid fertilizer. 3 solid fertilizer. That still gives us $12,000. I'm a little bit happier with that. I feel a little bit better about that. Hopefully I just did solid fertilizer that was liftable. I don't even know what I clicked. I hope to God they were liftable. If they're not, I'm in big trouble. I'm going to have to bring it all the way down here anyway. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's get these all stacked up here, and we can bring them back and make sure that we at least have, enough in Farm 1 to keep it operating. That's the most important thing, honestly, for us right now, is to keep that farm operating. That's the only farm that's making us any money, right? So we've got to keep that operational. That's why I was very... it took me a while, and I was kind of back and forth on what I was going to do with Farm 2, is because we really, really need the money here to make sure we keep this farm going. If this farm stops and we're not producing anything, guess what? We're going to fail. Or we're going to have to sell a bunch of stuff again just to get us back into an operating state. So we absolutely 100% needed this extra money to do this, because we've been kind of just scraping by for the last couple of episodes, right? We've just been adding a small amount of liquid fertilizer here and there just so we can operate. Now, hopefully the next month, obviously, we're going to have more to sell. There's going to be more things that are going to sell as well, right? Because we're going to have all the... we're going to have a lot more pickled items, right? Because we've got the lettuce going now, so that's going to help us out tremendously. But we're also going to have the ability for us to sell whatever wood chips are still in storage right now in our wood production, right? So these are all going to be really, really good things for us. We're going to start to catapult here over the next handful or so episodes, I guess. We're actually going to start making a lot more money, or at least we should be making a lot more money. I'll put it that way. All right, so we're going to stack these up here on top. Now, when we get them back to the farm, I'm going to take them all down with the telehandler, and we're going to have to try to bring these in, like, kind of one at a time, if you will, into the different productions, because what we don't want to happen is all of these to go into one specific, production. We kind of want to separate them out. Obviously, all the liquid fertilizer will go to the greenhouses, and then the solid fertilizer, all 3 of those bags, will go directly into our wood production. Not too concerned about the seeds and the fertilizer right now for Farm 2. We're not going to be drilling anything for a while. Sunflowers are not until March, I think, or April. Yeah, March. So we don't have a ton of time. By all means, we don't have a ton of time, but we got a little bit of time. Now, really what we need next month, at a bare minimum next month, we need to get enough money to buy a cultivator or a plow for Farm 2. We've got to get that sorted, because we've got to get that field prepped and ready to go so we can actually drill it in March or April. I guess we have 2 months, March or April. But nonetheless, we really got to sort that out. So with some of the money we make, that's really going to be our main goal, is to be able to get a cultivator of some sort, or a plow, or whatever. Now, when I take off these pallets here, the odds are we're going to the solid fertilizer is going to go a little crazy, and that's all right. They can. Yeah, they're going to just fall off. That's fine. They can fall off. I don't really care that much. Right, so the goal here is to take one of these pallets of liquid fertilizer to each greenhouse independently. That's the goal. So the first one we'll take down here to this guy. Boom, just like that. And then we just kind of continue that process as we move here. I'm actually going to try, I don't know if this is going to work, I'm actually going to try to take both the solid fertilizer here off the top without touching the liquid fertilizer. I don't know if this is going to actually work or not, but we're going to attempt it. Perfect. That was easy peasy lemon squeezy, baby. I guess I should have the beacon on here too, even though there should be nobody in this area. I guess I should have the beacon on. Alright, there we go. Perfect. And I think I just knocked that one over. I did. Wonderful. Good job, Z. Way to go, buddy. Alright, so we get the far greenhouse done, so we're going to go to greenhouse number... I'm calling greenhouse number 2 now. Just try to drop them in front of each of those water barrels each time. So our next one, we're going to go to 3. Now, is this going to max out these greenhouses? No, it's not. But what it's going to do is allow us to at least keep them operating for a couple of months, right? We absolutely 100% could use another, I don't know, probably 24, if not more, pallets of liquid fertilizer for these things. But you know, we gotta work within our means here, and this is what we've got means-wise. Obviously, we have $14,000 now because 10 o'clock hit and we sold some more wood or whatever it was that we sold, or whether it's wood or something else. But nonetheless, that is, you know, it's not that much money, I guess is what I should put, or how I should put it. Now, this should be 4, and then 5, and then 6 is over there. Perfect. Alright, and then the last one. And we got to take that last bit of solid fertilizer into the wood greenhouse, and then that is a wrap. I just don't want to put this into the wood production, if at all possible, so I'm going to try to slide it over here on the edge here as much as I can, so it doesn't accept it there. Perfect. Now, eventually, what we'd love to have is some kind of a buying point here on Farm 1, and that way I can, you know, just buy the liquid fertilizer, the solid fertilizer, whatever it is we need. I can just buy it from that buying point. I don't have to go all the way to the shop, although the shop is not that far away, but it still would be a time saver, right? And just overall easier for us to do, because we can have a big trailer and store it all in that big trailer, like our tank over there, right? So overall would just probably be a better setup for us as if we have one of those. Now, we probably could purchase it right now. Maybe we should. Maybe we should. Because we're going to need it again next month. And that would save us time. We've already got a tanker we can utilize to help us with that. Yeah, let's do a quick save here, just to make sure. But let's look. There are some options I have installed that we can use, for sure. Is it under container, I think? Is it container? Yeah, it's container. So we've got these buying stations. I'd go with the cheap one because that's more like what you would get from the shop. Land is not owned by me. Okay. I don't know where I'd put this, though. I guess I'd put it here by the entryway, right? I guess that would make sense. Land is not owned by me. It's got to be because of... Ooh, my stomach is growling, gang. I am hungry, evidently. I don't know if you guys can hear that, if that's coming onto the microphone or not, but it is growling. It is not happy with me. I kind of think there would be a good spot. It's kind of out of the way. We're going to go with it. We're putting it down. It costs us $2,000. I get that. But I think it's worth it. We're going to be able to buy the liquid fertilizer from here now. We can also buy solid fertilizer. Well, we don't really have a trailer here for the solid fertilizer, but we can do so. We can modify that into a regular trailer. Yeah, that's good with me. I'm happy with that. It kind of looks like it's been, you know, part of the ground has been kind of morphed into it. That's fine. There's not really any kind of floating there that I'm seeing, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Still gives us the opportunity to drive through here if we need to, although we kind of made our decision that that's probably going to be our main entrance. But we have the opportunity to do so if we need to, right? So I'm fine with that. Good. All right, well, we're going to leave the episode at that point, gang. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like and subscribe button for me on the case you have yet to do so. They are free to do. That helps me out an absolute ton. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or ideas, feel free to let me know down below in the comments. I'm happy to get back to you on those. Thank you to my members. I cannot thank all 11 of you enough now. It's great and amazing. I cannot appreciate each and every single one of you enough. If you are interested in that, there's a link down below in the description. You get early access to videos like this one, including the competitive one-tile challenge. Discord's down there. My other channel is down there, non-Farming Simulator related. So if you're interested in other games that I might play through or do any challenge on or whatever it may be, check that one out. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support, gang. We'll see you next time.